quickly 10,000-foot view when John comes across a violation. And especially this one that's a little different, that it's not everyday kind of thing, or he's not that used to. He'll come to me, sometimes me and Earl, sometimes Earl first to me, but we put our heads together, and especially those two, they can almost quote you verbatim, the ordinances and general statutes, but they come about, well, you know, this seems to be a violation, you know, let's make sure it is, obviously, and they follow the ordinances, they find the ordinances or general statutes to apply, and then start that enforcement mechanism. And there's all kinds of due process, and there's so many days for somebody to rectify it, and then there's a second letter. But then if it's not enforced or complied with, then it goes to the court. So the court's part of this team. It's not just John and Earl. So, like I said, the judge will tell you more of that, but he actually comes into play. Now, he usually doesn't see the violation until all that 2 or 3 weeks or whatever goes through, and then when we have to go to him for a summons, okay? Now, that's when the judge, in most cities, they actually start to see it, because they're like, well, why am I giving a summons on this? Well, here's the backstory. And they're like, okay, here, I'll pay the summons, that person has to go to court. What we've decided to do is get the judge involved on the front end. So when it does get to him, if it does, it's not rectified, then he's more familiar with it at that point. I just think it's going the extra mile there to get the judge involved at the very beginning of the process. So it'll work a little bit smoother on the back end. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to John.
That's very interesting.
Evening, Mayor, Council. So, I don't have our PDs for me to quote off of, but on your printouts, if you want to go to the first of my 3 amazing slides.
Page 11.
As you can see, everybody there? Total started the new FY with new numbers, so at October through January, and this is current as of the 4th of this month. That was when I turned it in. That was my deadline to get it in. So anything that happened after that you're aware of, it's not going to reflect on this. So as you can see, it was pretty heavy in October and December, and November and January was, November we had some cold, and people don't like going outside in the cold, so everyone was kind of in. So January's numbers were actually pretty good. Pretty good. And then, do you have any questions on these numbers before we go to the next page? Okay. So the next one is, well, how found out about these violations? Whether phone call, email, walk-in, city discovered, that's any city employee, not just myself. I just lumped us all into one. And
Are we in there?
Yes?
Are we city discovered?
Yes.
The council were to call you?
Yes,
or-
absolutely. We're all a team, so you work for the city, that's where your numbers go.
So you're not requiring something written submitted to you anymore? Or?
No, that is very strongly recommended that it is, but there's nowhere in the ordinance says it has to be written. It can be vocal. I encourage for it to go on paper, just because it's easier to track it and all that. That's just the start of the file.
Right.
But no, it's not required. Only certain ordinance violations are, though, actually.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
on your phone calls, are those, any of those anonymous?
Almost every single one of them.
Oh, really?
Yes, they'll block it,
No.
which is their right.
Yeah.
So, and then I encourage everyone, even the walk-ins, like, sure you don't wanna write this out, you don't have to sign it or anything, but 9 times out of 10, they just wanna tell you.
So I'm surprised more people don't email. I mean, only 12 out of 324 were emails.
Paper
You
trail.
would think
I
that,
know.
Traceable, I guess.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
Fly under the radar. I guess.
Mhm. Exactly. Any more questions on this page? Before, it's gonna be a little something different if you remember my last reports for this 3rd page. So as I said, as of February 4th, you see the numbers in red, Those are the still active out of this FY that are currently still open and working, as I said. Some are working on getting into compliance, they're constantly communicating with me. They just need that little extra extension than the regular 10 days, so, but it's still not closed, so they're still in red, even though they're actively communicating with me. And that is the final for the numbers portion of it. Does anybody have any questions for me on this page? Thank you for your time. Earl, you want me to leave this up here for you, these numbers? Or-
No,
Okay.
don't think of it.
Okay, so after John, we've got Judge Mike Towers.
We got Marshall next. Marshall's gonna
Oh,
come on and
Marshall,
say.
okay,
Oh.
that's not the order of the thing.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry, no, that's.
Motion, Judge, and you didn't even know.
Mayor, council, just a,
This is what it is.
I am a licensed code enforcement officer, so that's why I'm
Because we've had that.
plus the marshal. Violations, we take care of city, that we do and can't write citations for, when they have their violations. So basically, if John observes a violation, he documents it, takes photos, hopefully start taking video before long. And, so he documents it, and sends out the notifications of the violations, states the codes that have been violated, and how they have to abate them. So he gives them the proper time, he gives all the notifications, and if they still don't comply, and that's where we come in. You'll file a complaint, we'll make sure everything's done properly, file the complaint for the judge, then the judge, the court sends out notifications for them to appear in court.
Pretty streamlined. Yeah.
So, yeah, like Stan said, we get together, it's a team effort now, so to make sure things get done properly and get taken care of.
So really, like, law enforcement really doesn't get involved unless the person that's been cited has not complied within,
yes.
yeah.
So
Before
long-
that, it's all handled through John, and law enforcement does not get involved.
Right. No, I do say it's done, we've been a licensed code enforcement officer, we do communicate about what's going on,
Mhm.
and we talk about it and make sure it's done. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Earl. Now we've got,
Now it's my turn, Earl.
Save the best for last, Judge. No pressure.
Well, as many of you who know me for a while know, I'm a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin. But I grew up in the Midlands, so my politics are somewhere between John Wayne and Kiki Friedman. But here's something I learned in Austin. Direct your attention to page 28, which is the fourth amendment. I was very crossful advisor and stickler in this stuff, but the other all I do. And I was able to get together with Natalie from Dan Santee's office, and his late wife Megan, and John, and Earl, and we were able to work out a way that we can provide the best code enforcement possible, and at the same time to provide due process of law, so the citizens of the city of Bandera won't feel like there's just a bunch of guys running around and giving them a hard time. The idea and my philosophy is to try to take people who are recalcitrants and non-compliance and get them to comply with the law, and not come in as hard as we can and hammer them when we approach the court, but to raise the bar as we need to. I would say that worked out real well. When John started doing the code compliance stuff on the city offices, and especially the restaurants, we had a few that were a little reluctant to come into full compliance, but they managed to get it done. And we got it done without a lot of pain and agony and bad PR for the city. And as far as I can tell, everybody's in compliance now at the restaurants, is that right, John?
Yes, Judge.
That included a bunch of hard work on John's part about grease traps and other unsavory things. I can also tell you that my lead election is as a closet tree hugger. I'm a Texas master naturalist, and my wife is also, we believe in being stewards of the environment. In law enforcement, there's a thing called the open window, or the broken window policy. And that is, you got a neighborhood and there's a car parked on the street, and the window gets knocked out and broken, pretty soon that spreads and the whole neighborhood goes downhill. And so in the law enforcement world, there's some active enforcement on minor things like broken windows, so the whole thing doesn't escalate and go to hell in a handbasket. I think that's our big philosophy here as well, is to try to enforce the city ordinances, especially vis-a-vis public nuisance, to maintain the integrity and the quality of life in our neighborhoods, and at the same time not come across the Gestapo or we will run over people. And so to that end, with Natalie and Dan Santee's office and Carl and John, we come across a system that gives people lots of due diligence and opportunities to get it done. But at the end of that journey is a knot at the end of the rope. And the laws, both with the city and the county, I did this in JP Court as well, going on the JP Court. I signed a couple of dog seizure warrants and arrest warrants today on a woman who needs to be doing something besides documenting dogs. So there comes a point where people just will not comply voluntarily, and need a little help along the way. Our city ordinance, when we purchased these, how many years ago?
The way.
When we purchased those city ordinances from whoever did them, they did a great job.
Oh, the codification.
Yes. And so those give us lots of draconian opportunities to enforce the law as we need to see fit. What we have to be careful of is some of those laws and some of the health and safety code and local government code give us the authority to come in and cut somebody's lawn if it's more than 18 inches high. You need to be careful of that person in the master naturalist growing a zero-escape lawn as you just destroyed several $1,000s. So there has to be a little common sense applied as well as strict letter of the law. And I think that the guys who got working on the team, Earl, John, and I, are capable of applying a little common sense and not really roughshod over people. That's our goal, is to try to get people into compliance, not generate revenue for the city or show people how tough we are, but try to get them to think it's their idea. An old guy taught me once upon a time, it's a lot easier to get cattle to do what you want to do than it is to make them do what you want to do. That's what I learned with LQ. So I would like to take this opportunity to let you know that we'll be rattling a lot of keys with these code compliance. Because it may come to the point where we need to back it up when there's nothing else for us to do but take serious action. Any questions?
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, guys. Okay, we will go now to item number 6. Discussion and possible action on the following items: approval of ordinance number 449 for the budget amendments for 2024 to the 2025 fiscal year. Treasurer, Ms. Allison Wright.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
Okay. So the first page after the cover page you have, I included the revenue expense report. This is what you saw last time. But I wanted to include it again because I did mention that additional $2,000 donation we received that had not been booked as of our last meeting. So I just wanted y'all to see this one more time and see the $39,000 that came in from donations from the community. So we did have quite a bit of community support on this event, so that's nice. And then the expenses of the $61,696.09, and then you'll see the negative $22,696.09. That's the number we're gonna fix with this adjustment. That'll come down to 0 once we do the budget adjustment. And then we have the ordinance, and then before that, you're gonna have the actual entry that'll be done. Is everybody on that page?
I just wanted to ask something. So before you did any of this moving around, you did consult with our auditor, and
Yes.
everything is legal for the way that you done our budget?
Yeah,
okay?
and I actually haven't done any of the entries yet. I need your approval first, but yes, I did consult with the
With the
auditor's
auditor
office.
as well?
yeah, I spoke to them last week and I asked her while I had her on the phone, told her what my plan was and if she thought that would be suitable, and she said that's perfect, that's exactly how you need to do it,
Right.
that would be just fine.
Thank you.
So we're gonna, decrease the expense in salary, social security, Medicare tax, and Texas workforce employment tax. Those numbers are all there, and then that totals up to that 22,696.09. And then I'm going to create a new line item, which is gonna be a transfer out, because we are still expending those funds out of the general fund. So we're gonna expense them out, we're just gonna expense them out of a line item that explains transfer to Christmas, rather than it looking like y'all got paid the salary.
Right.
So I'll move that expense to that line item, and then at that point, I'll do a journal entry to move that expense into Christmas fund. And then that'll balance that negative to zero.
Great. Thank you.
So we'll be starting with the Christmas fund from next year with a zero
Zero.
balance, so anything that we get as far as donations or anything like that, we'll just start building in that line item.
Mhm.
Great.
Good deal.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion, to adopt ordinance number 449, stating the annual budget being amended according to what Allison just explained to y'all. Do you have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept ordinance number 449, approving budget amendments providing for severability, repealing all ordinance, oh, I don't need to read that. That we make a motion to accept ordinance number 449.
Okay. And do I have a second? Brett with the second, so I've got Lynn made the motion and Brett gave the second. Is there any other discussion? Any questions? Nope. Okay, all in favor? All in favor, none opposed. You don't want me to sign this one, do you? Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, down to the next one, approval of ordinance number 450, changing section 1.03.092, placement of item on the agenda to extend it to 12 days prior to the council meeting. I asked for this to be on here just because we didn't have a specific day that was allocated for everybody to try and get something on the agenda by, so we don't come into an issue having someone wanting something on like the week before and it's already in the process of being handled and done and stuff. So it basically just pulls up 12 days prior to each council meeting. So that's how this new part will read, is just
Business days or the?
12 days. Yeah,
Okay.
just 12 days, yeah. The city council desires to establish a deadline for the submission of agenda items and believe that 12 days prior to the council meetings, the item is requested for is in the best interest of the administrative efficiency. So it's mainly just to save time and issues with stuff being brought in at the last minute, kind of thing. So if y'all are okay with that, or if you don't want 12 and you wanna talk about something else.
Number of days besides 12 is pretty limiting. I mean, that's like almost the day after you come out of city council. I mean, I get that things have to, roll, and I understand that.
Well, it's because y'all want the packets a week before. Y'all want to have the,
Right,
like if
but
the
12
meeting
days
is,
gives us no time to, to me, 2 days before the initial packet would be, this still has a week to get finalized and go through the process, right?
well, according to what y'all had adopted before, is that the council wants to receive the full packet a week in advance of the council meeting. And in order to be able to facilitate a full week in advance, you gotta back it up even further than that to be able to get all of the requests in, so we can get them approved and the verbiage correct with the attorney's opinion on it and all that kind of stuff before we throw it on an agenda and roll with it. You know what I mean? So, it seems really quick, but when you look at the schedule and you look at the actual calendar, it's not that far in advance if you still want that packet 7 days prior to, because it's only 5 days before that. And part of that is a weekend.
Yeah, I think what Debbie's saying is it's 2 days after the council, the prior
Correct.
council meeting, so.
Correct.
I mean, I guess you would have to, we would have to deploy those items to administration in advance. So like if one council meeting is full, then you're gonna have to know what you want on the following agenda, really prior to
Right.
the
But see,
previous
there-
council meeting.
Right, and there's an item on every agenda that says request by council to place items on, for the
I'm
next
aware.
agenda.
I'm
So,
aware. It's just usually when you get hit with stuff is the day or two after
I
the
think
council
it's, I agree, I
meetings.
think it's a little tight, but.
It makes it tight.
My question is, I mean, if it's not an urgent matter, it can wait.
Yeah, for non-urgent,
Yeah, but-
informational
but, I mean,
things, I
we're-
get
we're
it.
supposed to
Yeah,
but-
and
really
the-
have
and the
anything
mayor-
that detrimental to the question on that. And plus, I like the 12 days because it limits forcing things on the agenda where we don't get enough information, everything's rushed. It's having to change the agenda 24/7 because a last minute item came in. I mean, I personally think 12 days is reasonable.
well, there's
If you
more
have an
time
idea
to
of what's
review
on
the agenda
You
too.
should already have it on
Yeah.
your mind. Like,
Yeah.
I've stated what I would like, workshops and agenda,
Mm.
and if I don't get it in within the 12 days, I just assume, okay, well, I want it on the next agenda.
I don't
Right.
remember talking about the week.
I think that was
Having
in
that-
before we actually
Yeah,
came
Yeah.
on.
I think that sounds like a longer, time than we need. Maybe personally, I'm not looking at a week out unless it's a couple of, really important topics. So maybe there's a way that we move that up and find a compromise as far as
We can do
shortening the dates.
So, like, what are you thinking as far as, if we meet on a Tuesday, if we can have our packet by the Friday before the council meeting, is that enough time for y'all or not?
The lady that puts the baggage
Jill.
together has her hand.
So it was the Friday before.
Yeah, that's what it
before.
used to be.
So the previous council changed it.
Okay.
To the Tuesday before, so
So
that's
full
where
week.
it got hard because I would get stuff after the Tuesday. So by Friday, I could have the full packet, but between Tuesday and Friday, I may not have everything.
Right,
So it was the Friday before because, and it was like that for 6 years, so that you had the full weekend and then 2 days before the meeting
yeah, Monday and
to
Tuesday.
look at the,
Right,
at the
Right.
complete packet. So for me, I mean,
Does
if
that
it's an
help you?
emergency thing, it can always be added anyway, but I think whatever we have could still go out on the Tuesday, but if we had the final packet by Friday, then I would be fine with that too.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
waiting until Friday to get anything is a problem for me because, that you usually don't get it till the end of the day on Friday. And so you have Saturday and Sunday to review, but if you have any questions, there's nobody in the office.
Monday is it, yeah. that's-
Monday is it.
Right.
Monday is all you have to ask any kind of questions and get any responses, and, that's asking a lot to get a same-day response from some people.
Yeah,
So, that would be my only reason that we get something before that Friday.
Have more
Now,
time.
I'm open to not having everything by Tuesday, if we could do it by Wednesday, extend that by one day if you want, that would be fine too. That would give Jill another day. But yeah, I think having it in advance is,
I'm just trying to eliminate the, issue.
last minute.
Yeah, the last minute things asking to be put on the agenda and then having to change things and making it more difficult on Jill and then having to send it back to the attorney and the back and forth stuff, so if there's more time in between, then I think it would be easier for everybody, Jeff, you had something?
Yeah, well, to piggyback on what Lynn was saying, we did change it because many of the items that we get on the agenda just need more time to review. We
Yeah.
get huge packets, and we get information on a Friday evening, and then we have a meeting on Tuesday, and it's too much. And we in the past have had agendas that were just stacked, and we didn't even get information. Why was it even on the agenda? The whole reason to back it up is to make sure the agenda's done properly, that no one's putting things on the agenda last minute. And if they're not ready to have it on the agenda, it needs to be pushed out. Because there's many items that were being put on the agenda that had no business being on the agenda because no information was backed up, no additional resource, whatever it may be. So I don't disagree with maybe changing the 12 days, but if the packet needs to be done by Tuesday, I feel that whatever you want on agenda should be no later than that Monday before.
And then the packets
And then-
be
and if
ready
you-
by Wednesday or
Well, like,
Thursday?
if she has it ready on Tuesday, if she has to have it ready on Tuesday, I feel at
So
least
keep the
that
Tuesday,
Monday
keep the 7
before,
days
if someone
prior
has
to.
something they wanna put on the agenda, maybe we can squeeze that in. But anything following that Monday should just have to wait for the next agenda.
There's always gonna be gray areas, and there's little things that get added, right, that you probably don't need all kinds of legal advice on and different things, and then there's bigger things that are gonna need more
Right.
time, so.
Right, and I just think we may be mindful of if we request things to be on the agenda, that we are backing up all the information that's needed to have just a discussion on what we'd like on the agenda.
Okay, Lynn?
I was gonna say, and if the mayor has the authority to add whenever she wants, if there's any kind of emergency that needs to be added at the
Right.
last minute, the mayor has the authority
Well,
to do that.
outside of the 72 hours,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, do y'all want to table this and discuss it a little bit more? Bring it back up next time and have more specifics?
Well, are you
Or-
the one that wanted the more extended time? You didn't think the 7 days was working?
Well, no. The
Okay.
7 days prior to for having the council packet ready is fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. The problem with that I see is having someone, like Jeff said, come in on Monday when the packets are supposed to be out on Tuesday, and Monday someone coming in and asking for stuff to be on the agenda. And then it has to be changed, and then it has to be, made sure that it's correct.
Well, I think once the packet's made, then yeah, unless it's an emergency situation where we've gotta talk about something, it doesn't need to be on there, but, Wednesday or Thursday, to me, for the most part, is enough time to, if they're out by 5 o'clock Wednesday night, you've got Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday to consult with people, 4 days. And if we can't get the research done, I would hope that if there was something really big that we could be sent a lot of information, or we table it, or call a special session if
Yeah.
it's something that has to go through, but,
I have a question. What,
Yes.
so logically, what would be the difference between the packet being ready on Tuesday than a Thursday? Because I would think by Tuesday or Wednesday, if you don't really have an idea what you want on the agenda by then, you should just table it for the next agenda. Because I don't.
the way that's reading,
Yes.
we meet on a Tuesday, you've got 2 days, you've got by Thursday, by this Thursday, you have to have it out for the next one. That's what
You have
this
to have
is
your
for.
request
But
in.
The
what she's
request,
saying-
yes.
But what she's saying, we're not changing the day the packet goes out, we're changing when we get
The request comes in.
So the idea is, okay, I don't feel we should change it Tuesday, but, okay, do you wanna request Friday before the Tuesday? Because we all know Tuesday the packet goes out. I think it's common sense that if we know that, we need to make sure we get our agenda items in
Well,
time
I'm
to get
just
that,
saying that
packet.
2 days after, though, I just thought that was tight. I mean, 12 days before is a lot.
So 11 days would be the Friday before. We did 12
doesn't mind
days
working on the
only to
weekends,
make
though,
it
so
a
isn't it
Thursday,
Isn't if we just did it the week before on a Tuesday, isn't that enough time? I mean, a solid week to get the information to put in.
then you're not gonna get your packet the week before. Because when the agenda items come in, some of them have to be reviewed
Right,
by
so
the
we got-
attorney.
Understood.
So,
if
and
they're-
that could take a day,
If
so.
they're due on Tuesday, the
Mhm.
week before, you've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, work days, 1, 2, 3, 4 work days to get it reviewed by an attorney and on the agenda.
But that's the meeting day.
No, this is the day that the packet goes out for a week before.
Prior to,
Prior to the meeting.
it's 7 days prior.
7 days prior. to
Right.
the meeting.
Okay, so what are you
This is the meeting day,
Right.
right?
So,
This is the
and
day
that's
the
the
packet
packet
goes
day.
out. This is the day that the,
And what day, how many days is that?
That's the Tuesday before, that's a week.
That's a full 2 weeks before the council meeting.
That's a week before the packet.
Right.
You're saying
Which
this is
would-
12 days before
The meeting. So you're saying that would be
So this
14
would-
days.
Yeah, I do.
That would be
Okay,
today.
gotcha, so you're saying this Thursday.
Correct. Right,
So that
either
gives
Thursday or
them
Friday,
One,
you know.
two, how many, 2 days, yeah.
So basically, she asked, request for items to be on the agenda tonight. Let's say we don't have anything. She's giving us 2 days to set
Yeah,
mayor and help.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be 12, we just pulled that out,
Maybe
you
have
know.
it Friday, but I
It could
do
be
agree.
11 days, it could be on a Friday, yeah.
But I don't think we should change when we get the packets. But
And
but
I
do
wasn't
think-
suggesting
right,
that.
I
Yeah.
like that date, but
Yeah.
I do
Well,
agree with what you're
nobody's
saying.
working, Jill, you don't work on the weekends typically to put it together, right? I mean, unless you.
Not unless I have to.
So
I'm in training
what
or
if
something.
everything has to be in by Sunday night? She's got Monday to put it on. You know, if you did Friday, somebody's gonna push something through eventually at 5 o'clock. She's gonna be gone. She's not gonna look at it over the weekend anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
the attorney has to have the turnaround time.
Yeah,
on it.
see,
So
that's
that'd be-
the issue, is having to send it off to the attorney for the verbiage to be correct. And that doesn't always happen, you know, as quickly as we would like, so,
Can I make a motion?
sure.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 450.
I've got Tony making the motion for approval and Lynn giving the second. Any other discussion? I assume that's with the 12 days as
Yeah, I
written?
mean, I think it's-
Is that
I
okay?
think
That's the
it's-
Thursday?
I mean, we're also asking for perfection in our packets, which is what we
Yes.
have requested, so
Yes.
giving Jill enough time to make
Yes.
sure that all the numbers match and
If it doesn't work, we can.
we can
That's
always
true.
change it.
That is very true, so. Okay, call for the vote. All in favor? All 5 in favor, none opposed. Okay, we're down to item number 7, closed session. We're gonna go into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.072, to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. This is in regards to the